individuals can lead to feelings of isolation or superiority. If we feel we are separate from everyone and everything, we might be unable to connect with others and become caught up in self-pity. On the other extreme, feeling that we are separate from everything and everyone, we might be unable to connect with others. And in this feeling of separation, we might begin to think that we know the best way to do things, and that others are not as bright as we are. Feeling superior can lead to the justification that it is right to impose our views on others, and that controlling others is justifiable. The third Dharma seal is nirvana, the state of wishlessness. Not a place or a state of nothingness. Nirvana is a state that is beyond suffering, beyond craving for worldly existence or sensory indulgence. It is the extinction of the ideas of self and other, birth and death, gain and loss. It is the cessation of thinking that I can attain happiness even though others have not, or that the distress of others is their concern, not mine. Understanding that the way to ultimate liberation is nirvana, we will understand that happiness is not found in a materialistic, self-centered existence. It is achieved through compassion, moral self-discipline, meditative concentration, and innate wisdom. Only by passing to a state beyond anything we can now imagine or attempt to describe will we truly be free and be able to help others be free as well. Freedom from suffering, nirvana, sublime happiness. Knowing the goal, how do we proceed? How can we help others to be free? How can we help others to find happiness? One way is through the practice of the four immeasurable minds. The first mind is that of loving kindness, which is offering happiness to others. The second is the mind of compassion, which is the intention and wish to alleviate the suffering of others. Third is joy, which is felt when beings experience happiness. And fourth is equanimity, being neither averse to nor attached to anything. We should understand that we cannot cause others to transcend suffering or to feel happiness or joy, but we can still have the wish that all beings will be able to accomplish such freedom and joyfulness. Ideally, one day, we will naturally want to practice all four because of our love for all beings. But realistically, until that day, we need to start from where we are and what we can relate to. Thus, our practice of the four immeasurables can begin with wanting others to be happy. Gradually, this can progress to wanting them to attain joy. Happiness is a physical state, joy a mental state. The attainment of joy, as well as the wish for others to attain the state of joy, is a higher level achievement, higher than the state of physically feeling good. We can start this practice with those who are closest to us, our family and friends. We can then extend it to those we know and like, and gradually keep expanding this practice outwards until we feel loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity for all beings in our world, and eventually for all beings throughout the universe. Ultimately, the capacity of our mind to care for all beings becomes immeasurable. Then our mind embraces the expanse of space and encompasses the vastness of the universe. These four stages are akin to how a fire grows from strength to strength. First, to start the fire, we need paper and thoroughly dry kindling wood. There must be no draft, and we must tend our fire very carefully. As it begins to burn more strongly, we can add larger pieces of wood, which in turn increases the fire. Eventually, when our fire is blazing intensely, even adding large logs that are not yet dry can still fuel the fire. The first mind is loving kindness. This is the practice of selflessness, where we constantly seek to benefit others and to help others find happiness. When we wish to hurt another, we are experiencing anger, waiting for an opportunity to inflict harm on that person. We are experiencing animosity. When animosity continues for a long time, it becomes hostility. When we act upon these thoughts through speech or actions, the hostility becomes cruelty. To counter these destructive emotions, we need loving kindness. To offer happiness to others, we need to know what they want. And for this, we need to listen and understand. If someone tells us that they do not need or want something, but we insist on giving it to them, we are offering frustration and irritation, not happiness. If they wish for nothing, then giving them nothing is the offering of happiness. We should try to give others what they wish for, as long as it is not harmful, even if it is something we personally do not want. Our personal desires or opinions simply do not always reflect what other people want. So often in our wish to make others happy, we project what we like onto them. Our intentions may be good, but without wisdom, the best of intentions can backfire, exasperating others and disappointing ourselves. To offer happiness, we need to set aside the thinking that others wish for what we wish for, and instead provide other people with what they truly wish for. The second mind is compassion, or the wish and intention to alleviate the suffering of others. It counters sorrow and anxiety. It is the unconditional care and concern for all beings. The ability to realize that all beings experience distress, not just ourselves or those we care for. All too often, we find ourselves trying to alleviate the distress of those we care for, but completely disregarding the distress of others, people whom we care for or perhaps even dislike. Ideally, our compassion should be held equally for all. This practice can be very powerful. Many of us have someone in our lives who seems determined to cause us problems. For instance, this person might be a supervisor who asks us how we would do a certain task. We would spend time searching for the best way to accomplish the task, and then present our recommendations. But inevitably, the supervisor would disregard our suggestion and do just as he wishes. This can be extremely frustrating. But if we take the time to look carefully, we might well see that our supervisor is, in turn, under a great deal of pressure from his supervisor, who constantly loses her temper. Under the constant threat of verbal abuse when anything goes wrong, our supervisor will naturally do what he feels most safe with. He is someone who truly needs our compassion, for he is constantly worried about being criticized or embarrassed, especially in front of others. By understanding his true situation, we can begin to feel some compassion for his constant distress. In this and other situations, we can try to have compassion by understanding how the other person is feeling. It is not necessary to have experienced exactly what they are going through, or to become immersed in the situation with them. We will accomplish nothing if we empathize so completely that we are unable to effectively help them. Instead, We need to remain clear in our thinking and reactions. If someone is drowning, jumping in not knowing how to swim will not help. What we need to do is save her from drowning. To do this, it is not necessary to experience the exact same situation as the one she is experiencing. We need to calmly find a way to fix the situation, using our own experience and wisdom to guide us. The third mind is that of joy, which is wanting all beings to be free from unhappiness and being sincerely happy without any trace of jealousy when they accomplish this. Joy counters sadness. It is a state of great contentment and ease. All too often, we wish to control others. We become irritated when they fail to behave as we wish. If others then praise them for the behavior, we become even more frustrated. But we should feel happy for them. If the person is genuinely happy in what they have chosen to do, and their actions have not harmed anyone, then yes, we ought to feel joy for them. The fourth mind is equanimity, which is letting go. It counters attachment and aversion. It is to stop clinging and to no longer judge or discriminate. It does not mean that we do not love. It means that we love equally and impartially, like a mother who loves all her children. Loving every one of her children does not mean she is indifferent to what her children feel or do. She simply loves them all unconditionally and without expectations. Equanimity in love is non-possessive. It is like the sun shining on all beings equally. The sun does not differentiate, deciding to shine more on one being and less on another. Neither does the sun cling to those it shines on. It shines on all it sees with warmth and brightness equally. When we can view everyone with equanimity, we will understand that people are who they are. If we expect them to conform to our ideals, we will smother and destroy them. It would be much better to just accept people as they are, without any of our preconceived views or personal judgments. Our only wish should be for them to be free from suffering and to be happy and filled with joy. Developing the four immeasurable minds requires much time, enthusiasm, and dedication. Although our four minds today may seem to be very small and narrowly focused, their gradual expansion will help bring others immeasurable joy as our loving kindness, compassion, and equanimity continue to broaden to eventually encompass the whole universe. But we need to remember that as we expand our hearts outward to care for others, at the same time we need to focus our minds within to train ourselves. This may seem daunting, but the Buddha provided us with 5 precepts to guide us on our way. Not just for Buddhists. These precepts are fundamental to the major spiritual traditions and ethical teachings in our world today. The first precept is to refrain from killing. It is not the principle itself that people disagree on, but rather its interpretation. Some believe that abstention from killing only refers to not taking the life of another human being. Others feel that it is wrong to kill both people and certain animals, but all right to kill insects. Still others believe that to intentionally take the life of any living being is wrong. All these are interpretations of not killing. In Buddhism, not killing is the reverence for all life and is founded on compassion. All animals fear death and experience pain when hurt. Understanding this, we can try to be mindful in everything we do. We do not want to inadvertently hurt or kill another living being. For example, we can try to be aware of where we are walking so we do not carelessly step on living creatures. By keeping our homes clean, we attract fewer insects and mice, which reduces the likelihood of having to deal with removing them. If we do have mice, for example, we can use traps that capture them alive and then free them in a safe area. Why go to all this trouble? Why not just kill them and be done with it? Isn't it natural to kill lower life forms and insects? In our ignorance and arrogance, we incorrectly believe that we are superior to animals. But within every being is a true nature that is identical to that of all Buddhas. These enlightened beings have uncovered their true nature. Ours remain buried deep within us. When we finally awaken and uncover our true nature, we too will attain enlightenment and become Buddhas. since all beings have this true nature, we are by nature equal to one another. Our lives are different due to the different causes we planted in our innumerable lifetimes. All these causes are stored in our most subtle consciousness. When certain conditions are right, certain causes will mature, bringing forth corresponding consequences, while the others will remain dormant. In this lifetime, the causes we planted to be the person we are have matured. The causes an animal planted to be born as that particular animal have likewise matured.